Hello, welcome into CHGO White Sox, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. I don't know why I introduced it like that. CHGO White Sox.
It worked.
That's what the podcast is called.
That's true. Welcome in to Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, the host of the CHGO White Sox. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me is the full CHGO White Sox crew in the blue tie-dye shirt.
It looks really blue on the screen. It's a compliment to our cameras and our lights in here that it looks like I'm wearing a neon sign.
I think it's the hat too. Kind of it's just the blue of the outfit. Yeah. Vinny Duber in a monochromatic blue.
Electric blue.
You can follow him on Twitter at Vinny Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. Just put together a thread of all of his articles from when he was down in spring training. So if you missed anything from Billy Hamilton being back to the Mike Clevenger day one stuff to Eloy Jimenez playing right field, which he did for the second time this spring already. That's Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ackermall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Eloy now playing in his second game in right field. As Pedro said, he wanted to see him out there. No way to see him out there and before he goes to the World Baseball Classic than him being out there. Didn't have any attempts in the first game, and this game's not being broadcasted, so we still don't know what Eloy Jimenez looks like in right field. So as long as he can stand there,
he looks like Eloy Jimenez, just over several hundred feet.
We'll talk about that with Elvis Andrus and how it feels weird just being over 100 feet a little bit later on in the podcast. We do have some new rule stuff that I want to talk about. We'll get into here, and we'll get into the Elvis stuff a little bit back. Oh, and I forgot to do the bit. Thank you, Who's Your Daddy? Vinny Duber back from Arizona.
It's true.
Yeah,
still
perpetually.
Yeah,
it doesn't get the same ring as the Australia one.
No, people go to Arizona on a fairly regular basis.
Right.
You
been?
Yeah, I've been to Arizona.
You want that Arizona hat and you got the jersey for the giveaway. Yeah.
It's a terrible state.
Terrible state.
It's beautiful.
For me,
beautiful looking.
Too hot. Too hot. Things that can kill you that are animals like coyotes, not the team. The actual animal.
There's
and the
coyotes
scorpions
here.
too.
Yeah, we got coyotes.
We have a ton of
Sometimes
coyotes.
Coyote goes into the AT&T store down on Michigan Avenue.
Oh yeah, but
I'll agree with you on the heat, though. I'm not a huge 100-degree.
those little scorpions.
person.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
The band or the animal.
Ooh,
Both terrible.
Scorps.
We have one song, right?
And what a transition. Rock You Like a Hurricane. That's a song they played past tense at the United Center when Patrick Kane would score a goal for the Blackhawks. But he's not on the Blackhawks
You know
anymore.
that song, Sean?
I had no idea. I thought they would play Chelsea Dagger after he would score a goal.
No, they had for Kane and Taves they had specific tunes. So they'd play Rock You Like a Hurricane. Kane,
Right.
get it? Yeah,
makes sense.
For Kane, and they'd play Johnny Be Good for Taves.
For Jonathan Taves.
Because his name is John. Yeah, right.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. Did you guys you knowing that fact, you heartbroken that Kane's gone?
I mean,
I don't know, heartbroken.
I would just say, you can watch the CHGO Blackhawks podcast for actual analysis of this. But, certainly end of an era, and, but it kind of feels like that era's been ended for a while now, I would say.
Right.
No, I am not a Blackhawks fan, so no, I don't care if Patrick Kane is a New York Ranger or not.
Yeah, and Chirac Bobby saying, what do the Hawks get in return? I think it's a second and a fourth, and the second could become a first. So, and everything that I've seen from, our CHGO Blackhawks guys is that it was a good return for the situation because, what leverage did you have? Patrick Kane was basically, everyone knew it was basically he was going to say he wanted to be traded or not be traded. And now that he said he wanted to be traded, well, what are they going to do? Not trade him? There's no leverage in that situation. So the fact that they can kind of get a first is pretty good for them. So
he got traded for the situation? It's not a good trade.
Mike?
Yeah, he's terrible.
I don't think he can skate.
He went to jail. I think he went to jail for tax evasion.
It makes sense. Tracks for that
terrible comedian. He tried to do a roast of Donald Trump, and it did not work out.
He's always seemed pretty talentless. So
Jim Tan Laundry, yeah.
Did you watch
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Jersey Shore.
No, I've never seen that.
I've never seen it.
You know names of people from a reality show?
It was
Snooki. I haven't even seen this one. I could probably do the whole cast: Snooki, Ronnie, JWoww, Mike, Paulie D. I've never seen.
Sounds like a regular Mensa meeting going on over there.
And Vinny too. There's a Vinny there. Dina. Yeah,
there you go.
So it wasn't good. but it was a cheap.
The reason I never watched it.
Oh yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky. Yeah,
That's why I never watched it either. But I
learned
know
my
him.
lesson on reality shows from that, and then when they ruined my favorite show,
What was your favorite show?
Big Brother. Oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad now. Man, it used to be so good
When was it good till?
until like season 15. Yeah, I watched all of those. Yeah,
You're not a reality TV show guy.
I hate reality TV.
Okay.
I got there. I got there eventually.
Is that your favorite show of all time? Big Brother? Like
Oh,
the-
reality show. Yes, my
Okay.
favorite one, but no, not my favorite show of all time. It's Ted Lasso, man. It's getting there, and
Really?
season
It's
3 is
great.
coming.
So good.
Season 3 is coming up. I can't wait for it.
Favorite show of all time?
My favorite show of all time, comedy, Seinfeld, Simpsons, 30 Rock, drama, West Wing.
Okay.
Love
That's
the
fair.
West Wing.
I know a lot of West Wing adults. I never got into it. I don't have the attention span, shockingly, for West Wing.
Yeah.
It's like an hour long, but those feel like
No, it was on network TV, so it's like 44 minutes or something like
right.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like a half hour show is 20 minutes, and an hour
Sure.
long is 45, right? But
Wow.
like still, like that one feels like
that's where you draw the line, huh?
well, no, but like
Too long.
it's like if it was on network TV, it would be 30 minutes with commercials. But like
Correct.
without on streaming, it's like 22 with
Correct.
with commercials.
Yeah.
Anyways, that show just feels like the 45 minutes. It feels like an hour 15. I just I can't do it. I can't get into it. Who's Your Daddy makes a great point. Sports is an actual reality show. Do you ever feel that way as a reporter?
Well, it's actual reality as
Yeah.
opposed to being scripted, which most reality TV is.
There it is.
I don't know. I watch Housewives with my girlfriend, and I just there's some beefs that don't feel scripted.
Also, sports, is a display of some sort of ability.
Yes.
Generally, reality TV is just showing you how stupid and mean people are, which is not really fun for
true.
me.
I believe our guy Stephen Barros chiming in. Stupid funny is Entourage. Entourage, guys.
I've watched it. It's all right. Not a huge fan of Entourage. I didn't have HBO as a kid or as a young adult. So when I watch shows, I watch them like years after. So Sopranos, I've seen like years after. Awesome. Same thing with The Wire. Just The Wire might be my favorite show of all time, but I still don't have HBO. And I know everybody's like, oh, HBO Max, you should get it. It's this, that, Succession, that show. Like, hey man, I got money. I don't have that much money just to be spending. Get somebody else's password. Hey man, I'm not trying to go to jail.
I'm not gonna go to jail.
Hey,
Shouldn't do
A
it,
lot
though.
of Americans are.
Know the difference between right and wrong.
exactly.
Boy,
If I do it, I'm
password.
gonna pay for it.
you wouldn't download a car, would you? The piracy thing from like before movies, and like there was like the 2000
Yeah, I've seen that
like
commercial.
PSA things, and it's like
Oh, yeah.
you wouldn't download a car, would
Yeah.
you? It's like, yeah, I would if I could. If I could 3D print a car, yeah, it'd be sick.
It wouldn't work, but sure.
We could give it a shot. What's up, everybody in the chat? Good to see you. Matthew Lucas asking if Honey Boo Boo was scripted. Didn't watch it, but I do know. Again, I think you brought up Mensa before.
Yeah.
Mensa as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, you got HBO money. HBO is not that expensive. I haven't done The Wire yet, but a lot of good stuff.
I don't have that money because I'm spending money on YouTube TV and I'm spending money on Hulu TV and I'm spending on Prime Video and everything else. So I had to make choices. You have to budget these things out now as an adult.
I get you. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about reality TV, but the sports one.
Okay.
New rules for this reality for the 2023 season.
Bill Maher show. New rules. Oh, never mind. You didn't get it.
That's an HBO reference.
It
I
is.
thought you didn't have HBO.
I don't. I just get the new rules retweeted in my feed. Not as good as it used to be.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So and even then, was he ever that good?
He's cranky.
He is cranky, and I like the crankiness, but then it turned a little bit like you're reaching. But who is that? That's everybody.
What do we got? We got some
That's
baseball
We got
stuff?
baseball. The chain. The one thing that I found interesting that I was reading today is the way that this author put it, and I was reading the advanced scout Noah Woodward. And he was talking about the secret pickoff play. Apparently, the Mets cleared out the beat reporters from practice. So
Down in Port St. Lucie.
yes,
Yeah.
And I'm picturing just like you were watching the fly ball drills, right as they're about to do that, being like, "All right, guys, scatter, shoot, shoot, shoot." Has that happened to you, or at least did this happen last spring training, or this last spring training you were at with Pedro? Like any
No.
new stuff that he was hiding?
No, not that he would tell us about, and not that was taking place while we were on the field. But as I sent you, I'm sure you're going to get to it here. He was asked, hey, are there any ways that teams are going to be working within the rules or to try to bend them and stretch them and, get a little bit of an advantage within these new rules? And he said, yeah, of course, that's probably going to happen. And someone asked him, and he said, we're one of them. We're one of them that are trying to figure out how to play within these new rules and how to get an advantage within these new rules. And so the follow-up question was, well, what are you doing? And he said, I'm not going to tell you. So there are some secrets at Sox camp, apparently.
Yeah. The advanced scout goes on and says, quotes Jason Stark and says the Mets are going to try a ton of stuff. Buck is going to have his pitchers hold the ball after they get 2 disengagements and take a chance that they can pick off guys. And then Evan Drellich tweeted on Monday that the camp reporters were told to leave the field because of a proprietary drill. So again, not letting the other 29 teams know of stuff like Pedro was alluding to. Apparently it's a pickoff play that's just going to, when you get to 2 disengagements, a way to play chicken, apparently, with the runner. I don't know how you guys think this is going to affect baseball. The White Sox felt like they got ran on a lot last year, but with the new rule being you could pick over twice, and then the third time, if you don't get that person when you get that disengagement, the person automatically gets second base. So what do you make of the new rule and how it'll affect the Sox?
I think the White Sox should not have mattered. Like, the one thing that Greg Maddux through his career, Mark Burley picked off people, but Greg Maddux throughout his career did not worry about the runner going to second. With the White Sox, I don't think it necessarily matters if the guy's trying to steal the base. And Yasmani has a strong enough arm to throw people out. We saw the other day he did it. If he's healthy, his legs are healthy, he can do that on the regular. But I'm not trying, if I'm the White Sox, I'm not trying to do that or focus on that. I'm trying to execute my pitches. If the guy wants to steal, let him steal, and we'll try to throw him out. But I'm not doing a pickoff move like the Mets are getting into, because how many times can you do that before somebody catches on to you? The first time, over. Then you're done. No one else is going to do it. And you don't have that much time. You have 20 seconds with a runner's on base. So stalling them out actually is the advantage of the offensive team, not the pitcher. So what I'm doing, if I'm a pitcher and I'm the White Sox, I'm not worrying about the runner on first. Yes, I'm keeping him close, but if I already thrown over 2 times and I've already checked on him, there's nothing more I can do and to have strategy against that runner. And if they want to run and they want to run themselves out of innings, be my guest. White Sox can always call a pitch out and other things, but I will not be setting up special, strategy to get that guy out at first base or second base, wherever he's at. So if I was Ethan Katz, I'm like, worry about the batter, because that's the most important thing. You get him out, the guy in second doesn't matter.
Well, the first thing I'll say is this is only increasing the likelihood of me living out my lifelong dream, which is witnessing a Major League Baseball team successfully execute the hidden ball trick. But we'll see. Listen, this is baseball, right? Baseball is that chess match, and they throw a bunch of new rules on there. Teams are going to come up with ways to try and gain an advantage while working within them. And like you said, Herb, the Mets are going to run this one time during the regular season, and then everybody's going to know that they have that in their toolbox. Well, that's chess. Then the team. The teams are going to try to think of a way to gain an advantage on the base paths, and then it's going to go back to the pitcher and the catcher. I mean, this is just how this works, and you see it in other sports all the time too. I mean, remember when we were younger, it was the Wildcat was the big thing in the NFL. Everybody was running the Wildcat for a while there, and now it's just this normal thing that sometimes happens, but the defense learns how to stop it. Mm-hmm. So listen, this is how sports works. This is how baseball works. Good for these teams to try and find a way to work around some things or gain an advantage. But listen, it's you don't want to use chess. You can use tennis as an ace example. One side will return the serve, and then the other side will smack it right back. So I would expect these kind of things, and it sounds like we're going to get them.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about a little bit more about that. I do want to give a shout out to Les Grobstein though, because when you bring up the Wildcat, I think of then now dead Miami Dolphins head coach Tony. Sperano, but he said dead Tony Soprano on air. Just class stuff. But the NFL, and this is again from the Advanced Scout, but he put it as the NFL-ication of baseball. Is it too simple of a game to be like the NFL where you have playbooks and, in-depth formations and motion, or is it simply like tennis where it's like, all right, it's in between the lines, you hit it, with some spin, less spin, like a little bit more finesse? Like, is it just basically, I guess, how simple is baseball, or how complex can baseball truly become?
I think it can be as complex as I think it already is complex. I mean, look at what the shift was. Mm-hmm. The shift was literally the coaches in the dugout having a different play in a book for every batter that came up in against every kind of pitcher, right? I mean, that it already was that. And so now it's getting a little simpler because you got to put, there's rules of where you can put guys in terms of them eliminating the shift. But as we were watching yesterday when they had the Sox Mariners spring training game on TV in here, what's the shortstop doing? He's standing as far over as he possibly can while being within the rules. He's going to stand in different spots based on different batters that come up. Those are playbooks. Mm-hmm. They work on plays in spring training. You know what I mean? Think about a bunt play. Think about, and again, I don't know if that's a good question. I don't know if does the shift rule apply to the bunt play when you draw in? Because everybody has to. Everybody's got to be on the dirt, right? So. Maybe it's just you can't go beyond the dirt. You can come within, but
Anthony Rizzo used to be like on the in front of the batter.
Right. But they practice that in spring training where they're, think of the wheel play where you've got the first baseman coming in and the second baseman going over to cover first base.
The pickoff play that we saw a lot last year was just where the catcher puts his glove down if a runner's on second base, and that just tells the pitcher to throw back. Like we saw that a couple times, and that's
Joe Kelly.
I think Joe, and then they said was Kelly alone? Anyways, I think Cease did it a couple times.
And you've got people, even just spitballing, in a barroom style conversation. Oh, they're going to ban the infield shift. Well, why don't you bring the left fielder over and have him play shallow right field? I mean, it is something that you don't even need to have the PhD in baseball to think about. Imagine if you do have the PhD in baseball, you thought of this months ago. You know what I mean? When these things were first being talked about. So, it is complex. It already is complex. Think of a pitcher attacking a batter a very specific way, working within this big of a box, right? To try, but if you put it here, there's a certain percent chance of success rate versus putting it here, and there's a totally different one. So, of course, it's already complex. I wouldn't call it simple at all.
Just remember, we were talking about the steroid era, where they're like the hitters are in front of the test. And as Vinny said, like once they realize the ban and all that stuff and the pitch clock is going to be here, the managers, the upper management, the players themselves, like how can we take advantage of this new rule? And as Vinny said, and we were talking about on Sunday, you can move that right fielder into short right field, move the center fielder into where traditional right fielder plays, have the left fielder shade more to center, and then have the two guys on the traditional third and second shortstop, just have them shift a little bit more. So it's a shift again. You just can't move the infielders. So the shift will still be in play. I guarantee for Yasmani Grandal, he got that hit yesterday, which it wouldn't have been last year. But if he's doing the same thing and he's hitting the ball in the same areas, I guarantee they're going to shift the fuck out of Yasmani Grandal and do it with the outfielders. So these guys are ahead of the new rule, and it might. As Fred said, it might make a nominal difference, but I think it's going to make a huge difference if they just play it straight up and down, which I don't think most managers are going to do. But I think these managers are, and probably Pedro Gafal is one of them, trying to find a way to advantage and game the system that they've already placed out there. So I'm in. You can't see my shoes because they're terrible, Mailman Jack. I'm not a shoe guy, ever.
I mean,
even if I get...
Sean's wearing two different kinds of shoes today.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, he is.
Was that on purpose?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
you have the same shoe like shoe. 12 times.
On purpose, they look good. If you had done it on accident, I'd be making fun of you.
Yeah, no, I think if I did this on
and
accident,
got the
then I'd have to check it for if I have color.
Well, hello, beautiful.
His hat is like reddish. He's got the reddish flowers on his shirt, and then
it's a new shirt, and I immediately spilled hot sauce on it.
It works. Nice. Is it red too?
This?
The hot sauce?
Oh, it was over here. I got it out, I think, with a little Dawn.
What kind of hot sauce?
It was Cholula.
Oh. Okay.
Next time you do that, saliva breaks it down a little bit better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Also tastes good. It's hot sauce.
That's true.
Exactly.
Are you saying lick it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I would have looked really weird if I was in a restaurant and started licking my shirt.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it in public.
No,
yeah.
Just get it out.
All right. Want to let you know about FOCO. I got some more stuff on the pitch clock. I agree with Fred. And there's some stuff from Jesse Rogers on the stats of how baseball has changed timing-wise. But want to take a quick break here, let you know about FOCO. Chicago, you've already got the best coverage for your favorite teams, so get fitted in the best sports gear around. FOCO has you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like tomorrow with apparel from the leaders in sports merch and collectibles. FOCO, that's FOCO. If you're looking for the perfect gift for the football fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. So check out FOCO.com, again, FOCO. Click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use promo code CHGO for 10% off. Again, we mentioned the bobbleheads in that read. They have a ton of bobbleheads. That's my favorite part about the FOCO website. When games were like 3 hours and 34 minutes, it was really easy to get lost on the FOCO website and just look at all the bobbleheads and all the cool bobbleheads that they can have.
But now you got to pay attention.
But now I got to pay attention. Also got to let you know about ComEd. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future. ComEd offers a wide array of incentives on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across our territories, and customers can inquire about how to upgrade outdated lighting to energy and money-saving efficient LED lights. Learn more about network lighting to operate your lights through your mobile device and track your facility's energy usage and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor-outdoor lighting and network lighting controls, making these projects even more cost-effective than before. So visit comed.com/powering BIZ, comed.com/poweringbiz now to start saving money and energy. And to start a project, you can contact us at 1-855-433-2700. And for more information, you can email businessee@comed.com. So, games going by quicker, less time to spend on FOCO.com. Now, games have been shortened. According to Jesse Rogers, spring training games down 23 minutes with a pitch clock.
Beautiful.
Under 240 for a baseball game, if that's
Love
the
it.
average.
Beautiful. Love it.
Insane. I mean, we might have extra inning games that are under 3 hours. What?
Yes.
And it's just action all the time. Like, I've watched these games, and the announcers are not used to it yet. They're like, oh, God, we got to go to commercial already because that guy just struck out a dude. Like, they had, I think it was Max Scherzer struck out a guy in like 20 seconds. They're like, this guy had this. He was trying to tell a story about his year last year. By the time that he got to the middle of the story, Max Scherzer strikes that guy up. We'll go to the bottom of the third.
Vin Scully would not survive in the pitch clock era.
Yeah, and the broadcast with Stoney and Benetti will be still entertaining, but they don't need to fill time anymore. If it's a blowout either way, it's just going to be the inning's going to be over, and before you get a chance to do anything, like going down to Chuck or anything like that, next pitch is going to be thrown.
Going to be a lot of one-liners from Stone and Jason this year.
They'll be flexing that writing muscle more. I think it's honestly hilarious seeing, and I know it's the two opposite ends, and there could even be moments like this that happened without a pitch clock, but the video that was posted where it's Pedro Baez, one of the notably most slowest working pitchers in baseball, just taking an entire minute and a half to throw a pitch, and then an inning where I think, there was like 4 or 5 pitches thrown gets completed in under a minute and a half. You're not going to have these long meandering innings where just nothing's happening. I'm so excited for this. Like there was the steroid era, like I think they're finally in the pitch clock era, and I'm really excited for this year. I think it's going to have massive changes. Like the shift I don't really care about. Like it might help like Corey Seager and like a couple lefties, but it's not going to change baseball drastically. More people will watch baseball, I think, because the pitch clock, and I think it will be a significant factor if, after 2023. I think it's going to take a while for it to be noticed and, catch on, but especially with the ability to be on ESPN, National, Apple TV, it's going to just make more people tune in, I think.
Facilities like Guaranteed Rate, Wrigley, all the rest of them need to find a way to have their vendors be more in the stands, because missing an inning is 20 minutes, if that. When you go out and get a beer or a dog or something like that, it takes, a certain amount. You missed an inning. Now, man, you might miss 2-3 innings, and the game might be just in the balance, hanging in the balance while you were gone in the bathroom or going to get some beer. So they need to find a way initially, because it's going to be like a thing for every one of us to get used to initially. They, at the middle of the season, have to get this nipped in the bud, because I ain't missing a couple innings because I wanted my favorite beer down there, or a beverage. Or a dog. You know how long it takes at guarantee rate sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially if you got to go to the bathroom.
You know what it'll be like? It'll be like playing a video game. I mean, I'm serious. Like if you play a baseball video game, right? You don't have all the standing around waiting. It's just you click through the replay, and it's as soon as you can throw the ball again, you throw it, right?
Yep.
That's what this will be like. You will be forced by the rules to operate at video game speed.
Literally, I found it hilarious where there was a play earlier in the Mets and I think Astros. It was 5-0. I forget who's pitching. Astros are up, 3-2 count. The batter is in the box, ready. There's 8 seconds left. He's looking at the pitcher, but like he wasn't like fully set.
Yes.
So automatic strike gets called. At bat ends. It's 3-2 count, full count, and he's just like looks at the umpire and he's like, "Well, I can't be mad at you. Like I can't scream at you." He's just like, "Oh, I'm mad," and then he just walks on. But like you see the pitch clock behind it, and it's already at like 28 seconds, and like the guy's not even in the box yet. So it's like you have 30 seconds immediately from the out being made. It seems like to even get in the box, get ready, and be ready to go. Like it's going to be quick.
They were making a thing about how it was Darren and Lynn on the broadcast the other day about how pitching coaches even have to speed up their pace because you only have 30 seconds to talk to your pitcher. 30 seconds. So they're like making an inference towards older, bigger pitch coaches in the past. I know there was kind of a shot at Don Cooper, but you got to run to the mound. It's like, hey, man, you're good, throw this pitch, blah, 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 and get the fuck out because 30 seconds is not a long time, especially if you're in one of those cavernous ballparks like Oakland. Jesus. 30 seconds to run out there.
All that foul territory.
Oh, my God. That's just so terrible. Move already.
Yeah, they're trying.
Yeah. I think, too, like that's going to be like thank God they got rid of the ability to just make pitching changes whenever you could too. Like thankfully we have the 3 batter minimum now too, because the big thing is going to be, you went out there and waited a minute and a half, not because you're telling him all the secrets about the defense. It's like, all right, let's give him a breather. Let's let him regain his best stuff, his ability to throw 97. Now it's just going to be about stamina, and maybe you see more pitching changes happening, but again, we're not going to see the ridiculousness of Terry Francona going lefty righty. I like this matchup, and that's how Brian Shaw gets used 150 times out of Cleveland's bullpen.
White Sox camp invitee Brian Shaw.
Hey, he pitched today. Clean inning, no walks, no strikeouts, just another inning pitched, another day's work for Brian Shaw.
His arm's gonna fall off one of these days. He pitches like every single day.
When he's dead, he's definitely has that feeling about himself. We'll take a quick break here, and then we'll get into Elvis Andrus. Want to let you know about CHGO and how we're supported by Goose Island Beer Company. Hey, Herb's drinking one, I'm drinking one. Cheers, why not? Chicago's beer since 1988. You got the Bulls City 312. You got the Bulls City jerseys, but in the Goose Island 312 beer. So it's the Bulls jersey on the can, and then the beer is 312. You also have the Blackhawks Pale Ale. That's a limited release. They're both got Goose Island. There's a Goose Island pub in the UC. Neighbors over with the tap room with the UC, very close. But they also got the Bourbon County Stout. Like I said, on Sunday, there's a lot of different now flavors of the Bourbon County Stout. Maybe I was just off, but there's a coffee, a Sir Isaac one that's got some graham crackers and fig in it. There's
no apple?
There might be.
In the Sir Isaac?
I don't know. Hey,
do you get why he would ask that, Sean?
Newton.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm making sure you know that.
I got it. I went to science class a couple times here. Yeah, Sir Isaac Stout aged in bourbon barrels with, I swear it says figs, graham crackers, and natural flavors.
I mean, Fig Newton is a thing.
There
so
it
maybe
is.
that's the connection there. Yeah.
But is that for Fig Isaac Newton?
I have no idea.
Was his nickname?
I'm not
Fig?
as familiar with a Fig Newton as I am with the story of the apple falling from the tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they also have a biscotti one as well. So they have a lot of different flavors of the Bourbon County Stout. And they also have the 312 that we're drinking, the Matilda, the Sophie, the Green Line, and the Beer Hug IPA series if you are an IPA drinker. So Goose Island's 2 locations are open and ready to welcome you. Grab a beer right from their innovative takes at Goose Island Tap Room at 1800 West Fulton, or get a smash burger and fresh beer of the week at the original Clybourne Brewhouse at 1800 North Clybourne. For reservations and pickup, go to gooseisland.com/location. Goose Island Beer Company.
And PB&J tomorrow. Bulls Live watch party with the guys of CHGO Bulls. $2 off of regular Goose Island beers, and then the pitcher. I think there's also a deal on Goose Island pitchers. So go out there and find yourself some delicious Goose Island. It's free to get in, but you got to pay for your Goose Island.
Yeah, allchgo.com for all of the details on that event. Also, got to let you know about Game Time. Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. If you ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could, the 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate, floor seats at a concert, it is possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you never thought you could buy. You won't find a better deal this season on White Sox, Blackhawks, or Bulls tickets. Both Bulls and Blackhawks return to the UC on Thursday and Friday. It was created by the fans for the fans, and it guarantees the lowest price. So if you love CHGO, then you'll love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets to the link in the description. Join our 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. Thank you to Game Time for supporting CHGO. White Sox are currently in the bottom of the ninth against the Diamondbacks. This game is not being broadcasted. White Sox are in line, though, for their second win in spring training. 2 games in a row, we got a winning streak. They'll be 2-2, 4-1 right now over the Diamondbacks. No Elvis Andrus today, I believe. Yeah, Hanser Alberto played second base, and at shortstop was some guy named Tim Anderson. But funny enough, yesterday we were going on during the 10-1 Mariners win. The clear thing to see was, hey, Jake Berger hit a home run. Let's talk about Jake Berger. But after the game, Elvis Andrus, in his first game ever playing second base, said it was completely weird. I do want to go to a clip here just from when Vinny got to chat with Elvis Andrus and Elvis Andrus Drive about the transitioning to second base, and then we'll kind of add the color of what it was like yesterday. But here's Elvis and Vinny about playing second base. All right, not found. It's all right. We were having that issue yesterday. I don't know.
Talk about a streak.
Hey, there we go. Hey, we'll figure it out. Basically, though, what he said was, I know it's going to be a journey. It's not going to be the cleanest thing, is basically what Elvis Andrus said. Him saying it being weird isn't the biggest shock, but again, like it's a new thing. A guy played 2,000 games at shortstop, and here he is now trying out a new position. What do we make of him feeling like it's weird?
Natural. You know, he's used to playing on one side of second base, ranging to his right or left a certain way, ball coming off the bat a certain way too. You don't forget about that because of the spin is different there. So yeah, for this first game, yes, it's going to be difficult, but this is what spring training is all about, getting used to that uncomfortableness and then making it just comfortable for yourself. I think eventually the veteran will be fine, but don't expect him to be one of the best second basemen in the game right off the bat because he has a lot of stuff to learn about that position. The footwork will be, I think, the most challenging. His arm is, of course, a shortstop's arm, so it's already going to be as good as it can be. But I think it's going to be a little, troublesome initially, but as long as he brings the bat, I don't really necessarily mind if he makes a couple errors or a couple mental errors out there because we know he's not a natural second baseman. And I know people say, well, what's so hard about it? It's a totally different position. That's why I don't do it in season. If it would have happened last year, if Timmy would have came back at the end of the year and Elvis would have switched over, that would have been really rough because they would have been doing it in the heart of the season and not having enough leeway to find out how the position works out. So I think eventually by the end of this year, you won't necessarily notice that Elvis Andrus is not a second baseman. At the beginning of the season, I think you'll definitely notice that he's not used to it. It's not comfortable for him.
Yeah. There's a reason I spent the whole offseason saying, Elvis Andrus is a shortstop, has never played second base before. It shouldn't be this no-brainer that he's going to come in and play second base. Now, of course, it ended up happening that's what the White Sox did. They went and signed him to play second base. But I think the point still stands. This is a guy who spent 15 years in the major leagues playing shortstop. Second base is right next to shortstop, but it's the mirror image, right? I mean, the ball is coming off the bat differently if you're standing at second base versus if you're standing at shortstop. Yeah, it should be weird. And I think the White Sox hope is weird is all that it's going to be, that it's not going to be a problem or something that takes months to master because they only have a month until opening day. Elvis is very experienced when it comes to playing Major League Baseball. He's very talented, obviously, and I think that will help. You know what I mean? It's not like you're just throwing some rando into a position change. Or a severe position change, as we saw with Andrew Vaughn going to the outfield. Still I'm still curious as to how he was fine in 2021 and then really bad in 2022.
He wasn't fine in 2021 though. I mean, he was horrible in
He
August.
didn't make a bunch of tripping over himself. Like last year, from an anecdotal standpoint, I'm sure you have numbers to say something else, but from an anecdotal standpoint, in 2021, what he did was he was very careful and he made the plays that he could make and he let balls drop in front of him so he didn't screw up. And last year, he visibly screwed up a lot. So my point being, as Andrew said in the interview we ran in yesterday's show, it's not easy to switch positions. And so you shouldn't expect it to be easy. Elvis probably has a leg up in that it is not quite as drastic as Andrew going to the outfield, but it's not going to be just flip of the switch. Okay, now he's a second baseman.
Well, yeah, and the numbers say he was bad in 2021 and he was bad in 2022.
Vaughn.
Yeah, Vaughn.
Yeah.
I think too it's just the more you're out there, I think the more it just got exposed. The more balls he had to play, the more difficulty, probably the more he was second guessing himself too. I don't think it was ever I don't think he got worse. I just think he was always bad.
Yeah, confidence, another thing. Yeah, once you don't get, like I said, in 2021, I thought just anecdotally and from my eyes, I was like, Andrew's fine in left field. He made the plays that he needed to make.
He tries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, you see the numbers are like, oh, he's -7 ounce above average in 2021 or whatever the number was. And then last year was a total disaster. Confidence. He probably realized that he wasn't as good as he was actually feeling in the field, and then it didn't work out for him. With Elvis Andrus and Tim Anderson, I don't like the fact that Tim's going away for so long and they can't work together to get their, chemistry together. I'm sure they're doing it in their off time and during these games, but, sometimes Elvis is a shortstop at heart. That means captain of the defense in the infield. You're going to probably meet each other in the middle of the field, and one of these guys like, hey, man, what the hell is going on? Do I go forward? Do you go back? What's going on here? You need that type of chemistry. You need that kind of communication to learn exactly where that player is going to be at and where you're going to be at. I don't know if he's going to acquiesce to Tim in that role because he sees himself as a shortstop, the leader of the infield. I don't know if he's going to be like, hey, Tim, this is your infield and this is your team, so I'm going to let you catch most of those balls.
I think it's just who's quicker to get to it. If Tim beats him there, Tim beats him there.
And like we were saying, with the shift, like Tim's playing right above second base, like that, that hitting each other might be a thing. But I would let Tim go get the ball because he's coming towards first base instead of going away from first base like Elvis would be at second base.
But guys, that's a play, right? Like we were talking about earlier. That's a play. You're supposed to realize who has the ball, and the other guy's got to back him up. It's not just peel off, because what if the guy that you give way to misses it? Then it's a single into center field.
Yeah, absolutely. And two, with Elvis, I don't even know how much it is about him and Tim. He just said after the game, the weirdest game I've played in a while. Even between innings, I was like, what am I doing here? But I'll get used to it for sure. And again, that's what he was telling you in the interview, in the clip that we had. He said he's not 100% comfortable at second, but it was a pretty first good game, and that he wished he could have a few ground balls. He had a nice liner that he caught, ranging towards first base, diving out from the infield dirt to the outfield. It was nice. It wasn't again anything that I don't think he couldn't have done last year. It's just he's a capable defender, and that's what the White Sox need. Again, it's not some rando. The idea of throwing Eloy Jimenez in right field isn't completely random. He's done it before in the Cubs organization. Andrew Vaughn in the outfield, completely random. He's young.
Hey,
he's young and has legs.
Prior to Cactus League play, Eloy Jimenez had more professional experience as a right fielder than Elvis Andrus did as a second baseman.
That's true.
And he made a great catch at Petco Park in the Futures game, too, playing right field.
But, we haven't seen too many reports on what he looks like in right field. I don't know if he's had even any attempts at playing balls in right field yet. He did have, I think, about 3 innings before being pulled in today's game. White Sox, that game is final. They won 4-1. End of 9. Highlights: Sebi Zavala with a 2-run home run. As Melissa mentioned earlier, Billy the hitter is back. He has a double. Luis Robert also had a double off Andrew Chafin. Hanser Alberto had a double, and he had a 2-hit game. Andrew Vaughn walked. Eloy Jimenez was 2 for 2. Oscar Colas came in. He was 1 for 2 as well. Moncada drew a walk. He struck out twice as well. And Timmy had a run and walked as well.
And I saw that Billy the Steeler got him third base, and then Oscar Colas tried to steal second. Didn't work out as well for him. So, yeah, Billy the Hamilton, 2 runs scored, too, today, using his legs as usual, and got a double.
Tim had an error as well. Robert had an outfield assist. He got Gabriel Moreno out at home. And then we got some double plays. Vaughn to Anderson to never mind. I don't even know how to read that. Cool.
How about all that practice?
Hey, how about all that practice?
Under 2 hours and 40 minutes, too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Game time.
Yeah.
First pitch was 110. So yeah, that wrapped up.
110 their time.
Yeah, so wrapped up around like 3:40 or so.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Stever pitched today. Good to see him back, just because he was coming from injury last year. Kendall Graveman, who's in the World Baseball Classic, pitched. Jose Ruiz pitched. Brian Shaw, as we mentioned earlier, and then other guys that Jake Diekman pitched. But outside of that, nothing else of major note from the White Sox game today. I did want to mention one thing, and it was about spring training. Now I'm off of it. This is great. Cool.
It's all right.
Well, it's not all right, because what are we going to talk about? It was the pitchers that are coming up. Okay. The pitching report. Have you seen this? The next pitchers coming up? Okay. I know Clevenger and Giolito are scheduled for a bullpen, and then I think Dylan is coming up on Thursday to pitch. So I know they announced some sort of a rotation coming up, but we're not going to see Mike Clevenger just yet. We're not going to see Lucas Giolito yet, but we should be seeing Dylan Cease this week. So good to see some action coming up in Glendale.
Very excited. I mean, get your work in. Do what you need to do. Don't get hurt. We've seen a lot of injuries already this first week of spring training, with Gavin Lux probably going to miss the year with a fluke injury he got on his knee. As the White Sox can steer clear of that, it's been a thing in Major League so far. I mean, Joe Musgrove broke his big toe weightlifting. Come on. Just get through these games healthy. That's all I care about. Get your work in and get through, because like 5 guys have already got injured, like with injuries on the field, and it's not very encouraging to a team like the White Sox, who have had injuries the last couple of years, and have been the I say last year they were snake bitten. So as long as it happens to other
something
teams,
that could actually happen in Arizona.
Exactly. That's why I don't like the state. Too many snakes. We got snakes here, but not deadly ones.
For the pitchers, especially the starting pitchers in particular, spring training is about being able to pitch the length of a game come opening day, right? I mean, you're seeing guys right now who my reports from spring training, how many times did I say, boy, Lance Lynn looks like if opening day was tomorrow, he could pitch. But he goes out there in the first spring training game and he throws 3 innings. Right. And he'll throw 4 the next time, and he's in the WBC, so he's probably ahead of these other guys. Maybe Dylan Cease, Lucas Giolito aren't even pitching that quote-unquote minimum for a win 5 innings, what you would expect out of a starting pitcher at bare minimum, until, we're only like 2 weeks out from opening day. So these are necessary starts. Again, like we were talking yesterday, like Pedro said right before I left, ignore the stats. It doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about the stats. But these guys need to get out there. They need to get into game situations, and they need to be able to throw 5 innings, preferably in their mind, preferably 6 and 7 come opening day. And so these starts are just about getting them into that routine way more than it is racking up strikeouts or even preventing runs.
Thank you to the chat. We got Davis Martin on Wednesday, Lance Lynn Thursday, Dylan Cease Friday. Clevenger and Giolito threw 2 live inning BPs this morning. This is from Daryl. Griffall said, I was really, really happy with the way those 2 guys are throwing in the baseball right now. They look strong, really strong, pounding the strike zone. And Colson Montgomery is getting his first game action tomorrow. And Pedro said he looks calm. It looks like the game comes to him at the right pace. That was just because he faced Clevenger today in BP. I will see what happens with the upcoming games, but it's going to be good to see Lance pitch. I just think he's going to be one of the tougher guys to face in the World Baseball Classic, just because he's gone through that routine, having 3 different fastballs. Like, will you guys be able to catch up to that mile per hour? And you talking about him being ready. If that guy's midseason form like he was last year. He's not walking anybody, so it's not going to be any free passes for anybody in the World Baseball Classic. So he should be a fun one to watch.
I think big year coming for Lance.
Yeah.
Just because of that health. I mean, like, we saw how good he was at the end of last year after he figured it out, but the season doesn't look good because he misses the first 2 months, and then he spends a month plus figuring things out, getting back to normal, doing what he would have done in March, not in July, right? So if he's got full health, he's ramped himself up early for the World Baseball Classic. I mean, you saw how good he was 2 years ago. I think he gets back to that level in 23.
Well, and one thing that was really encouraging last year was it seeming like he had a different pitch. His curveball seemed to be a little bit more redefined, and he started throwing it with a little bit more regularity. So, hey, maybe he's got another pitch, and maybe that's a little bit more sharpened, and maybe he's got Johnny Cueto-like offerings. You know, you never know what Lance Lynn's going to throw because he's got 5 pitches he can command really well, and be an absolute nightmare because that guy's going to attack the strike zone. He's got a pitch clock as well. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's top 5 in Cy Young again.
There's a reason that the guys who hang around, right? And you can obviously point to a future Hall of Famer like Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer and say, oh, no duh, these guys are good. But Lance is in his 30s. Lance is been hanging around, and when Lance has been healthy the last few years, he's been one of those guys like Justin or Max, who's automatic. It's just automatic. Like, what you're going to get. Like, you go back basically the last, 2-3 years prior to him joining the White Sox with the Rangers, and he's just boom, 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 every single time out. You know exactly what you're getting. Up there in terms of innings, led the league during the COVID year in innings. I mean, he's just reliable.
I think he had most batters faced in 2019 as well. He had 208 innings that year, and 2019 5th in Cy Young, 2020 6th in Cy Young, first year with the Sox 3rd in Cy Young.
Yeah, and
pretty damn good.
Remember, this is kind of a walk year for him. I think he has a club option for next year, but he's trying to get his last contract most likely for Major League Baseball. And if he's healthy, fresh, like he should be, because he only pitched half of the year last year, and he looks like he's in top-notch shape and middle-of-season shape, I'm looking for a big year from him also. I don't know if he's going to be the ace, but there could be a battle. Him and Lucas are both on walk years. Dylan Cease trying to get that real-time paper, so I'm sure they're going to be battling each other as they did in 2021, where it's like, oh, man, he just went out there and threw a 9-inning shutout. I need to go out there and throw a no-hitter. Battling against each other, and I think that just Lance Lynn just is that guy. He wants to pitch. He wants the ball, and I think there's nothing going to be stopping him except for health. That's it. Like last year, I think that was a fluke injury. It happened like when the offseason, right, Vinny?
In spring training. Yeah. After he showed up to spring
last
training.
game.
Yeah, and so he's got the fresh legs. He's got the fresher arm that he would usually have at this time. And I think going to the WBC will be a benefit for pitchers, especially like him, who knows what he's going to be throwing. And these hitters know what he's going to be throwing. Sometimes they just can't hit it because the man locates his pitches so well.
Yes, and 2 with Lance. Next year's an option, $18 million. It's a club option. Mm-hmm. So hey, if he does finish top 5 in the Cy Young, I don't think the White Sox are going to decline that option. He does have a Cy Young bonus too if he finishes top 3.
Maybe, yeah. So. He's got kids.
And not only that, they love having him around too. I mean, he's the leader of the pitching staff, and I think, I'm not saying that alone is worth $18 million, but if you couple very reliable, very productive play with that, it's a no-brainer that he should be back for next year, I would imagine.
His friend's still pitching. He's 41, pitching in the World Baseball Classic with Lance Lynn. So a little reunion there. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to dance or doubt Lance Lynn. I mean,
no, I'm not doubting him. I'm just saying, like, he's pitching for another contract. Yeah, the White Sox might, have a club option and exercise it, but he's trying to get that money. Yep. He's 36 years old right now. He knows that his baseball life is not that long in the game, but he might want to pitch into his 40s, 41, but he's got kids to feed, so he'll be trying to get out there and make that extra $18 million next year. Trying, because there's nothing better than more money.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a $1 million buyout, so he'll buy McDonald's for a little bit.
They won't be doing that, hopefully.
Mentioning health too, the only guys that I guess we're like monitoring, Kopech, just because he's a little bit slow to start his program, right? He's
I wouldn't even say behind schedule. I think when you talk about Kopech, it's that maybe he wasn't working ahead. You know what I mean? So a lot of these guys in the offseason they're already doing those tweaks and working on new pitches and stuff like that. Kopech had to spend the offseason getting back from the knee surgery. So I wouldn't say he's behind schedule in any way. Again, there was that weird phrasing that Pedro used. He'll be ready for the second series. It's still the first turn through the rotation. He is ready for opening day is what that means in my mind. But I wouldn't call him behind schedule at all. I would just say you need to remember he was focusing on getting healthy during the offseason while maybe some other pitchers were working on, mechanics and pitches and stuff like that. So he's doing all of that now.
Right. Obviously, Lance Lynn seems perfectly healthy and fine. He was probably working on his curveball and all that stuff. Also, the other guy we're monitoring, this is from Scott Merkin today, and I'm guessing this is just to all the beat writers that are down there. But Aaron Bummer has not been off a mound since arriving at spring training. He took a step back due to nagging soreness in the same left shoulder/lat area, limiting to 32 games during the 2022 season. At this point, Bummer is not worried about being ready for opening day, so we still might see Bummer. Even for Bummer, he's got less of a workload than Kopech. Kopech's got to worry about throwing 5, 6, 7 innings in a day. Aaron Bummer, it's we'll use you once for a series, and we'll monitor you there. I mean, it's not as pressing if he's not ready to go.
Yeah, and I would, he says he knows his body better than most. I would, if I was a White Sox, slow him down, because he's more valuable for the full season, as we saw with players last year. Lats and obliques, those are big-time parts of the body where, especially if you're pitching, you can't lose yourself for months on end. If he needs to miss a certain amount of time early so he can pitch all the rest of the time, do it, because it's not very conducive to the White Sox if you have to have him shut down. You have Crochet that's not going to be pitching until May in the minors, and your top lefty is going to be Diekman. Yeah. Enjoy. That's not going to be good. I'm not good for that. So take your time, kid. Take your time. We need to have top-notch Aaron Bummer, especially that we don't have my guy Liam Hendricks, apparently, because of, he's battling cancer. And by the way, this shirt is awesome. Go and get you one. Close Out Cancer, 31. It's on the White Sox, I think, website, so it's all good. If he comes back,
WhiteSox.com/Team Liam.
Yeah, it's a bonus, but you need people like Aaron Bummer to be healthy for the majority of the season. So if they feel like he's slow and he hasn't pitched off the mound yet, we got like a month left until we got to play real games, take his time.
Yeah, absolutely take your time, and you can get that shirt for $31 at White Sox or MLB.com/White Sox/fans/team-Liam. Just type in
I'm
White
sure
Sox.
you go to the White Sox website. You can find it a little easier.
You can type in WhiteSox.com/Team Liam. I just did that, and it directed me there.
HTTPS://www.
Forgot the backslashes.
Sorry. Two of those.
That's it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us in the chat. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to Vinny Duber for being on the podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinny Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer.
Sean thanking me for showing up to work today.
Thank you, Herb Lawrence, for showing up to work today. You can follow him on Twitter at ActonWall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And I'm Sean Anderson. I'll thank myself for showing up as well. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. And thank you to Sarah for producing.
For showing up to work today.
Well, specifically for producing. I mean, great for showing up, but I've worn it on the show.
Okay,
before.
I just don't see it usually because you got the button down right now.
Hey.
Look at the taco meat going too.
Is that chest hair?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't like that. I don't like that term.
Put it down. Put it down to like the stomach, like Aloy.
Well, I was inspired by our right fielder, but I now you said taco meat, and now I'm feeling
that was Carlos Rodon's strategy.
Yeah. Do you think you're gonna allow that in New York?
Hell no.
No.
Oh hell no.
It was a nice style. Anyways, that's gonna do it for the show. We will talk to you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you, and go Sox.